All right, I believe we are live. Let me check the feed, make sure that I can see myself on Facebook and Instagram and wherever else it is that I am broadcasting this afternoon. This good afternoon, everyone. I am Dr. Kimberly West, and for the past 2 weeks, we have been teaching a class, an educational series on artificial intelligence. And I'm truly hoping that you've had an opportunity to tune in and maybe have learned a couple of things. Um, if you have, let me know in the chat. Also, in the feed, let me know if you are watching live by giving me a hashtag live. And let me know if you are watching this on the replay by giving me a hashtag replay. So, we're going to talk about the dark side of artificial intelligence today. I've been doing a really good job of talking about and touting all of the benefits of artificial intelligence, particularly for business owners, for marketing, and a couple of things we have coming down later on this week for how you can use it for your personal use. And yesterday, good afternoon, Carla. Yesterday, I posted something that was kind of cool, but kind of creepy at the same time. I posted an avatar. It was basically a video of me, or at least my likeness, talking. So let me tell you what that was and how it came about. That post from yesterday, me with the red suit on and the red lipstick, that was actually a static AI picture. And I got that because I was able to take about 15, 20 pictures of myself, selfies, different representations of my face. And I fed it into an AI generator. And from that, I received several AI pictures of myself. Some I was able to use because they look like me, and some they did not look like me. And we'll talk about that because that's also part of the dark side of AI. So after I took that picture, I fed it into another application. And with that application, typed in a script and gave it a voice. And the AI voice read the script while AI also made the lips move on that picture, that static picture. Also made it, nod its head, facial expressions, little idiosyncrasies that most humans would have. So nothing about yesterday's video was me. It was all 100% generated by artificial intelligence. So we can use that as a marketing tool. There are some great ways that we can use it. And let's face it, there are some horrible ways that it can also be used. So AI's been in the news. You can't get away from it. It doesn't matter whether you're a techie or not, doesn't matter whether you're a business owner or not. It is all over the place. We've got people creating fake songs by Drake that he never wrote and never sang. And, those are appearing on different channels. We have people who are spoofing and taking people's voices and creating situations where, they seem like they are in distress or have an emergency or need somebody to send them money. So as great as AI is and all the great things I've been talking about, there's a really dark side to artificial intelligence. So, one of the questions that I get very often is, can artificial intelligence think for itself? To a certain extent, yes, it can. And to a certain extent, no, it cannot. Artificial intelligence can think to the extent of the data that it has been given. And if we are controlling the data, then we control how much it's able to think. However, there's a thing called sentience or being sentient. And that's when artificial intelligence can think for itself and make decisions as well as act on those decisions. That is the point that we don't want to get to, at least in my opinion. Now, some people may have a difference of opinion. This is just my opinion as somebody who's worked with artificial intelligence for a while. So, where we are right now, um, probably need to start to pump the brakes on what artificial intelligence is going to be able to do in the future. And I'm not alone in that in that thinking. Elon Musk, ironically, who is one of the first investors in OpenAI, which is the creator of ChatGPT. Elon Musk and gentleman's name escapes my memory right now. One of the co-founders of Apple. He and several other high level technical professionals have gotten together and put together a petition basically saying that we need to pump the brakes on where we are. We need to slow this down. We need to put some guardrails around what's happening, because we cannot allow artificial intelligence development to go unchecked. And if you weren't convinced then, let's take a look at what happened a couple of days ago, where the godfather of AI, Google's number one man in charge of artificial intelligence, been working with it since before most of us were even born, stepped down from his position, basically saying that he's starting to regret his life's work and he is afraid of where artificial intelligence is going and could go. So you have people who are even more learned than I am, and I don't know everything. You have people who are more learned and more connected than I am who are saying the same thing. We need to pump the brakes. And I wholeheartedly agree. Something else that people ask, is artificial intelligence going to replace people? Are we going to lose jobs? And let's face it, with any type of technological or industrial revolution, because this is basically what it is another industrial revolution. It's almost the second coming of the internet. Yes, there will be some jobs lost. Mainly jobs that are very repetitive in nature, data entry being one of them. Jobs that are repetitive in nature are going to go by the wayside. So there are ways that you can shore up your own skills. There are things that you can do within your own job, within your own career, to make sure that you are ready for the pivot. And if you're one of my coaching clients or have ever been one of my coaching clients, you know the pivot, and you also know that there's a major pivot coming. The smart money, the smart professionals, the smart individuals are going to be the ones that find a way to make artificial intelligence work for them, as opposed to being intimidated by what artificial intelligence can replace. So if you want to have that conversation, that's actually kind of over and aside from the dark side of artificial intelligence. If you want to have that conversation, we can definitely do it later on this week. But let's get a little bit deeper into the dark side of artificial intelligence. And I have some notes because I have a couple of blog posts that I've written on this. I've only released 2 of them. But I'm talking about gender and racial bias in artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is driven by algorithms, and inadvertently they can perpetuate and they can even amplify existing biases in society. So if you are a person of color, if you are a person who is in a marginalized community, you know that there are biases against certain things within the United States, and let's face it, all over the world. This is also based, you very often based on training data. It's based on who is creating the algorithms, who is creating the artificial intelligence. And we know that for the most part, technology has, especially this level of technology, has been in the hands of a particular set of people. And whether it's deliberate or not, certain norms, certain things that they feel are normal, find their way into artificial intelligence. And I will say this, we conducted an experiment in Midjourney, and you can do this as well. Go to Midjourney and type in /imagine beautiful woman, and you can do it time and time again. Now, originally when we did the experiment about 6 months ago, it always popped up a blonde hair, blue-eyed woman. And then it started to change a little bit. So sometimes you would get a brunette. But there was never, ever a person of color that popped up in that particular search or that particular prompt. When I have taken my own image and had it overwritten or redone in artificial intelligence, so this isn't theory, this is my actual experience. I have locks. I have dreadlocks. I am a Black woman. Out of 100 images that I received back, I was only able to use about 15 of them because the artificial intelligence did not recognize my locks. In fact, in a couple of places, it gave me long, wavy hair, long brown, wavy hair. It did not recognize my ethnic nose, which I am so wonderfully proud of. It, anglicized my nose. It even did some things with my complexion on some of the pictures. So until more people of color are the ones that are creating the data, or at least feeding the data, or at least on the teams that identify the data that AI is trained on, we are going to have these issues. And when we talk about gender bias, um, we need to evaluate AI models for bias and fairness. We need to promote the transparency in AI systems. We need to understand as a public what data, specifically what data these AI models are being trained on. And that is one of the ways that we will mitigate some of the issues in gender and racial bias. So for that, more people of color, we need to be upfront and center. We need to be vocal. We need to be involved in the creation, modulation, and management of the data and all other parts of AI and machine learning. To go on to the next point, someone brought a very interesting point up yesterday, and I want to thank her for that. Civil rights infringements. And I didn't think about it beforehand, but after she brought it up, I said, you know what? You're absolutely right. So AI powered surveillance systems, which we have a lot of all over the nation, and predictive policing tools can pose a threat to individual privacy and civil liberties because they can possibly disproportionately target marginalized communities, and that can lead to over policing. We have to establish some very strict guidelines on this. We also need transparency and accountability, again, in the deployment and the development of AI systems. So that is another dark side of AI, the potential for civil rights infringements. Then we have malicious uses of artificial intelligence, and we're starting to see more and more of this. When it was a song and somebody's creating the song and putting it out there, it was a joke. It's like, haha, that's funny. But the fact that someone can take artificial intelligence and take Drake's voice and create music and write some lyrics and make it sound like Drake was in the studio for the past 3 days creating this work of music is frightening. Most recently, we have seen people who have taken voices of children and synthesized them with AI and called the parents and made it seem like the child was in dire straits. The child was in an emergency, and try to extort money from the parents. That is definitely a dark side of artificial intelligence. Deep fake videos, like the video that I created yesterday, there's absolutely nothing to stop someone from taking pictures of a celebrity or pictures of a corporate executive and basically doing the same thing that I did. Now, I know that the video that I did yesterday was a little choppy, but there are other services that can kind of smooth that out and make it really seem like that was an actual person. So if you take that video or that type of video manipulation and you take the voice manipulation, what's to stop someone from creating a video and making it seem like someone's been kidnapped? And this has actually happened, making it sound like someone's been kidnapped and going for ransom. Again, one of the reasons why we need to start to pump the brakes and really think about what we are doing with artificial intelligence. So how do we do that? We have to develop and enforce legal frameworks to criminalize the use of AI for harmful purposes. But how do you police that? How do you catch the criminals? If they're smart enough to use AI, then they're probably smart enough to mask the other terrible things that they're doing. They're smart enough to figure out how not to get caught. Okay, I have a question. You said earlier the godfather of AI and Elon Musk suggesting to pump the brakes. My question is, what do they mean by that? AI robot with Will Smith? No, I don't think it's going to come to that particular point. But let's just say that government intervention is going to be needed, and it can't just be the United States government. It needs to be global governments. As it stands right now, over 25 countries have banned ChatGPT alone. Italy's one of them, and they were the last country to do it. but ChatGPT is banned. These other technologies that where you can replicate someone's likeness, their face, their voice, music, these other applications are probably going to be banned in those same countries as well. So what do they mean by that? We need a global perspective. We need a global consortium to determine how we as a race, as a human race, are going to move forward with this technology. Again, it can't be just the United States. It can't be just one country, because let's face it, criminals are they cross lines, they cross country lines. Yeah, that's really what they're talking about, Sylvia. They are looking for people to come together and really regulate. And it needs to be not only the technology community, but it needs to be the end user community as well. Because as techies, let's face it, we get in our heads and we're like, oh yeah, this would be so cool. This would be, let's do this, that, and the other. And then on the, the end users are like, yeah, but if you do this, then that, this, and the other can happen. And, sometimes as techies, we don't even think about that. Okay. Question. Oh yeah. Ooh, good point about legislation and regulation, because it's going to be needed. It's needed now. If we haven't learned anything by the past couple of weeks, it's absolutely needed now. The only U.S. Political office that's actually started to do anything about it is the United States Department, what is it, copyright. So Copyright Office has already handed down what can be copyrighted and what cannot be copyrighted, but they're still holding hearings on what the final ruling is going to be into the future. So they've already taken, they've taken hold of it. Other government agencies are as well, but the government, it's a government, and it's going to take a while for them to come together and figure out how they want to regulate artificial intelligence. There are some really good attorneys. Oh goodness. Oh, William, what is William's last name? I'll post it in a little while. Attorney in Florida who's doing some incredible intellectual property work, but he's also very vocal on the subjects of artificial intelligence and what we need to do in terms of legality, and what kind of rules and regulations need to be put around it. Let's see, do we have any other questions so far? So those are the biggest dark sides of artificial intelligence. It's, gender and racial bias. It is the erosion, the potential or the possibility of the erosion of civil rights infringements. Let's see, we've got something. Will there be, oh, great question. Will there be any way that you will be able to detect deep fake? If in layman's terms, or if you're just, just Joe Schmo on the street, absolutely not. Let's look at what just happened again. And I keep going back to Drake, but let's look at what just happened with Drake, all the music that was released. That was a deep fake. And most people had no clue that it wasn't a new Drake single. If you're a techie, there are some tools that you can use to detect deep fakes. They are, we all have to learn how to use them. I'm starting to learn how to use some of them, but it is not easy. It really is not easy. So for the general public, the answer is no for right now. For the technology public, the answer is yes, but you have some additional learning to do. Let's see, cyber attacks, malicious uses of AI. I'm looking at my notes also. We need to promote the development of AI systems that can detect and counter malicious AI applications. Right now, with ChatGPT, there are applications that you can run text through, and yeah, they made new music with Pac and Biggie. That's scary. But there are applications now where if you write a blog post and you have ChatGPT or any other, generative AI write it for you. If you have that written, there are applications that you can feed that through, and the application will tell you whether or not it has been written by AI or whether or not it was written by a human. And there's a couple of these applications that are really, really accurate. So we're able to do that right now, even as a regular person, not non-technical, we're able to do that now. So I anticipate that hopefully we'll be able to do that with video, we'll be able to do that with music, but again, as we have seen this week, no. In fact, somebody just played a Michael Jackson song the other day, and it was a deep fake. Now, we know Michael Jackson hasn't put out any new music in for quite some time for obvious reasons. But song came on, and I'm like, wow, that sounds like Michael Jackson. But Michael, no, that's not new music from Mike. Again, it was a deep fake. Somebody had created that with artificial intelligence by training an artificial intelligence bot to recognize his voice, reduplicate his voice. They put some music behind it, and there you have it. So, any other questions about our current dark side of AI? I'm sure, and then there are so many others. I really don't want to scare the hell out of you guys. But let's just say, remember the Jetsons way back when you would see certain things happen in the Jetsons. Cell phones were in the Jetsons. This is back when we had, the phone on the wall with the really long curly cord. So cell phones were on the Jetsons, and now look at us. You can't walk out the house without your mobile phone. Instant food on the Jetsons. We have microwaves, all sorts of things in the movies, in the cartoons coming to play. But keep watching. I will be doing some updates on the dark side of AI. In fact, I have a really cool event coming up I'm working with some people on, which is basically going to address gender and racial bias in AI in particular. And again, thank you for the tip. And on civil rights infringements, we're going to throw that in there as well, because that could be huge. But if there aren't any other questions, I am going to say ciao for now and wish you love, light, peace, and prosperity. Join us this weekend for our 2-day hands-on workshop on artificial intelligence. We're going to walk you through some graphics. I've got some great guest instructors that are beasts when it comes to graphics. We're going to be doing some, in fact, that little AI head video that I showed you guys yesterday, I'm going to walk you step by step through exactly how to do that for yourself, and a bunch of other stuff. So I cannot wait to see you. I have a post on AI a little bit later on today, and that's it for the day. Thank you so much for watching. And if you have any questions, please always feel free to ping me either on Facebook or on Instagram. Ciao for now. Bye.